everyone, welcome back to Xylem, welcome back to the world of English. My name is Nasser Faruddin, Faculty of English. So I will be helping you cover the entire syllabus for your upcoming English examination. So if you haven't subscribed our channel, do subscribe for the upcoming videos and updates. And in this video, we will be discussing two interesting chapters from your core English textbook, which is collectively known as Two Stories About Flying. Two stories about flying, right? So let's get into the topic, delve deeper into the chapters without wasting time. So which is our first chapter? Yes, you guessed it right. The first chapter is His First Flight. His First Flight is a beautiful, inspiring short story written by Liam O'Flaherty. So let us see who Liam O'Flaherty is. Liam O'Flaherty was an Irish writer known for his short stories and novels. So he was an Irish writer. He's a writer from Ireland. His works often show human emotions, struggles, and survival. So these are the major themes of his stories, of his writing. His First Flight is one of the most famous stories. Even though it's a very simple story, it is one of the most popular stories of Liam O'Flaherty. I mean, it is there in most of the syllabus throughout India. Focusing on courage and self-belief. The story puts forward very simple ideas which are courage, self-belief, importance of confidence, etc. Right? And what is the setting of the story? Where does the story take place? As I always say, whenever you are learning a story, it is very important, significant to know the setting of the story. Then we will have a better comprehension of the same. And before we are describing a very detailed synopsis of the chapter, I insist you to read the chapter thoroughly, at least once, line by line. Okay? Right. So what is the setting of the story? The story is set on a high rocky cliff overlooking a very vast sea. The story takes place on a rocky cliff. The natural setting symbolizes freedom, danger, and life's challenges. So these are the significance of that particular setting. The seagull's ledge becomes a place of fear. So in this story, we have a small seagull. We have a young seagull and he's sitting on the ledge of the cliff. And that particular ledge becomes a place of fear, while the open sky or the open sea becomes a space of courage and growth. Right? So two places symbolizes two entirely different things. Right? And moving on. So what is in the story? What is being described in the story? Let's see. Introduction. The story is about a young seagull. So if you ask me who is the protagonist of the story, who is the central character of the story, it is a young seagull. It is a young seagull. Seagull is a bird that is somehow related to, connected to, similar to our crow, right? So the story is about a young seagull who is scared to take his first flight. That is the predominant problem here. He's scared, he's afraid to take his first flight. It shows how fear can stop growth. For a bird, flying is important. Flying is very crucial. Flying is necessary for the survival. But he is afraid for his first flight. It shows how fear can stop growth and how sometimes one must be pushed to discover their abilities, to discover their potential, to discover their capabilities, I would say. Right? Moving on. The seagull's fear and hesitation. The seagull's fear and hesitation. The young seagull sits alone on the ledge. Right? Because he was afraid to make his first flight, so he was sitting on the ledge alone. His brothers and sister have already flown. Flown is a past participle of fly. Fly, flew, flown. Right? But he is too frightened. He's too afraid to do that, to make that first flight. Right? He imagines the deep sea below and believes his wings cannot support him. He was afraid of the deep sea beneath him, and he always anticipated the potential of a fall. Right? And he was not believing in the strength of his wings. He thought his wings could not carry his weight. He repeatedly runs to the edge, but retreats due to fear. Repeatedly, he runs to the ledge. He wanted to fly. Somehow he wanted to make his first flight, but every damn time he was afraid and he retreated from the ledge. What was the young seagull's family's reaction? Let's see. His parents scold, they even threaten and encourage him to fly, right? So his family members, including the father seagull, the mother seagull, they made everything possible to encourage, to make the young seagull fly. But everything went in vain. Every effort was useless, right? Futile. They warned him that he will be left to starve if he doesn't fly. He will be left to starve, right? He will die out of hunger if he doesn't fly. Still, he remains too scared. Still, the young seagull was too scared, too afraid to fly. His family continues to fly confidently, showing him what he should do. Right? So he was looking at his brother, sister flying confidently in the sky, but still the young seagull, our poor young seagull, was not that confident to make his first flight. And hunger forces him forward. Hunger forces him forward. After 24 hours of no food, the seagull becomes weak and desperate. The seagull becomes exhausted, weak, desperate, hopeless. His mother tears a piece of fish, tempting him, right? So this is a very crucial juncture of the story. His mother, what does she do? Her mother tears a piece of fish, tempting him, in order to tempt him, in order to attract him, right? He cries continuously for food. He cries desperately for food. His mother flies towards him with the fish. His mother flies towards him with the fish, but stops midair, just out of reach. She stopped just out of reach in the midair, right? For the young seagull, the only way, the only chance is to move forward, is to fly forward, is to catch that fish and, save his life from starvation. And the moment of flight. Here comes the moment of flight. Maddened by hunger, he dives forward to grab the fish. He dives forward, flies forward to grab the fish. This sudden movement pushes him off the ledge. Until that point, our young seagull was extremely afraid, extremely terrified to make that first flight. Now, he's unconsciously, took that first flight out of hunger. For a moment, he feels terrified, but soon he feels the air support him. The initial time was terrifying. He felt that he was falling down, but later, or gradually, eventually, he felt that the air is supporting him. He's getting some grip in the air. He discovers that he can fly naturally. That was a moment of discovery. That was a moment of realization that he can fly naturally. For a bird, flying is a very natural process, and you need to take that first step. That's only what that matters. And joy and confidence. Fear disappears and excitement takes over. Fear disappears, vanishes, and excitement takes over. For the young seagull, it was a first experience, and it was a blissful experience. It was a great experience. He begins to soar. What does soar mean? Soar means fly high. He begins to soar. He begins to fly high, dive, curve, and scream with delight. He started doing every fancy movements in the air. That was his first time, and he was super, super excited. His family circles around him proudly. His family circles around him in order to appreciate him. He realizes flying is easy and natural. He realizes that flying is an easy process. Flying is a natural process, but he couldn't do that until that point because he was not ready to take that first step, believing in the strength of his wings. But now he did, even though, it was encouraged indirectly by his own mother. First landing on the sea. His family lands on the green sea surface and calls him forward. green sea surface and surface of the water. He tries to land, but is scared when his legs sink into the water. Right? So that again was one of his, initial experiences. So he was afraid at that particular time also, and because his legs sink in the water. Soon he realizes he's floating safely. Soon he realizes that is also very natural for a seagull. His family rewards him with the scraps of fish. Right? That's how the story ends, and the conclusion part. The young seagull finally makes his first successful flight. The story teaches that courage often comes only overcoming fear. Courage comes after overcoming fear. Growth begins when we take the first step, even if it feels difficult. Growth begins when we take the first step, even if it feels difficult. So that's the story, his first flight. And we are moving on to story number 2, which is The Black Aeroplane. The Black Aeroplane is a mysterious, interesting, perplexing short story written by Frederick Forsyth. Frederick Forsyth is a British writer known for thrillers like The Day of the Jackal. You might have seen The Day of the Jackal. His stories often involves suspense, mystery, and unexpected twist, and this story is no different. The Black Aeroplane reflects his interest in unusual events and human courage. Unusual events and human courage. Let's delve deep into the story. What is the setting of the story? The setting of the story is very specific. Time: 1:30 a.m. early morning. 1:30 a.m. early morning means in the night, after midnight. Place: the narrator is flying his old Dakota plane. Dakota is the name of the company of the plane. Dakota plane over France towards England. So did you understand the scenario here? The narrator is flying his flight from France to England. What is the weather effort? Calm and clear at first. In the beginning of the story, we'll observe a calm and clear atmosphere weather, but later a dangerous storm. Okay, later a dangerous storm will arrive, and we'll start the story. The synopsis, detail 1, introduction of the story. The narrator is a pilot flying home to England. The narrator is a pilot flying home to England from France. The sky is clear, moonlit. The sky is clear, moonlit, and peaceful. Right? So it's a very calm atmosphere. He feels happy and relaxed thinking about his holiday and breakfast with his family in England. So he's extremely calm and composed while he started his flight from France. Right, moving on. Contact with Paris control. Paris control is in France. Paris air control is in France. The pilot calls Paris control for guidance. They instruct him to turn 12 degrees west towards England. He follows the instructions and continues his flight. Everything seems perfect. So far, everything is going according to the plan. There is no surprises. There is no mystery. Everything is going, very smoothly. But what happens then? See, the sudden danger. Storm clouds. After flying 150 kilometers, he sees huge black storm clouds ahead. Huge black storm clouds ahead in front of him. He cannot fly. Why he cannot fly? Because he cannot fly over them because the plane is too old. Okay? The mechanics of the plane is too old. Right. He cannot fly around them. Not enough fuel. He doesn't have enough fuel or easily back to Paris. And it is now almost impossible to go back to Paris because he has already traveled 150 kilometers. Now it's a very difficult situation. It's a very difficult situation. First of all, he is flying alone. He is the only passenger. He is the only one inside that flight, and he is the one who is piloting that flight or airplane. He still decides to take the risk and enters the storm because he wants to reach home. See, he took that risk. He took that risk of bisecting that storm clouds and moving forward because he was desperate to see his family members in England. And what happens? Inside the storm, complete failure. Everything becomes pitch black inside that. Right now, imagine the airplane is inside that storm cloud, that black storm cloud, and everything becomes pitch black. The plane starts twisting and jumping. The plane started moving unusually. All instruments fail. All instruments inside the airplane fail. Compass stops working, other controls die, radio goes off. He is completely lost with every little fuel left. So he's in the middle of an extremely difficult situation. Maybe he is facing death. And what happens? Appearance of the mysterious black airplane, the title of the story. Suddenly he sees another airplane next to him, dark, without lights. He came across an airplane which is dark in color without any light. That itself is a very interesting, strange, unusual scenario. Don't you think so? The pilot of the strange plane signals, "Follow me." Oh, that is quite surprising. Out of the blue, all of a sudden, the pilot of that strange plane calls him or signals him, "Follow me." Right. The narrator feels relieved. The narrator feels relieved like a child being guided by an elder. Like a child being guided by an elder, he followed that strange black airplane. The black airplane leads him through the storm for 30 minutes. It leads him for 30 minutes. Fuel almost empty. His fuel is about to finish, only 5 to 10 minutes left. He becomes scared, but the strange pilot continues guiding him. The strange pilot continues guiding our narrator with his, the Dakota airplane, which is running out of fuel. Safe landing. The black airplane descends. Okay, it came down. The narrator follows and suddenly sees runway lights. He lands safely. The narrator lands safely on a runway. When he turns to thank the savior, when he turns to thank the pilot of that strange airplane, he was not there. The black airplane has disappeared, vanished, just as if it is, just as it appeared. Okay, right. The mystery at the control tower. The mystery at the control tower, the climax of the story. The narrator asked the woman in the control room about the other pilot. He inquired about the other pilot who helped him, who saved him from a danger. She is surprised, but the woman at the control center was extremely surprised because no other airplane was in the sky tonight. No other airplane was in the sky tonight, and he was the only plane visible on the radar. He was only visible on the equipment, on the radar. The story ends with a question: who was the pilot who guided him? This is how the story ends. The story ends without giving us a very straightforward, a very solid, specific, logical answer. Right. So what are the themes of the story? Let's analyze. The first one, mystery and the unknown. Mystery and the unknown. The biggest theme is mystery. The appearance of the black airplane and its pilot has no logical explanation, as we have discussed earlier. No one at the control tower saw it on the radar. That creates suspense and makes the readers wonder who helped the narrator. The story leaves the ending open and mysterious. The story leaves the ending open and mysterious. Second, courage in difficult situation. The narrator shows courage when he enters the storm, even though it is dangerous. His instruments fail, his radio dies, and he cannot see anything properly. Still, he tries to keep the plane under control. His courage helps him survive the crisis. And hope and faith. Hope and faith. When things become worse and all hope seems to lost, the narrator suddenly sees another plane guiding him. He trusts the mysterious pilot. He was ready to trust the mysterious pilot completely and follows him blindly through the storm. The story shows the hope The story shows that hope can appear when we least expect it. Hope can appear when we least expect it, and help from unexpected sources. Help from unexpected sources. I would not say the divine, but unexpected, unknown sources. The story suggests that help can come from unknown places. The narrator receives guidance from someone he cannot identify. This theme gives the story a magical and positive tone. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the chapter, The Black Airplane. So thank you everybody for watching. And before we are winding up the class, I have a little request, which is the first one. Please do scan the QR code for handwritten notes. It is completely free. Okay, you can scan the QR code, join the community, and you can avail all the materials for free. And this is completely protected. Your identity will be completely safe, so you don't have to worry about that. So do join the WhatsApp community, and you have to check the description box of the YouTube video for the chapter test. Okay, I have prepared a chapter test based on what all we have learned so far, and you may attend that test as well. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you with another video. So till then, this is Nasser Faruddin signing off. Thank you.